What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles, welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. The snow's about to end, which means if you've been following my Instagram account, I have been taking full advantage of it, getting all kinds of snow pictures, taking my Black Series Han Solo, Luke Skywalker in the snow, the Stormtroopers, the one lone Hoth snow trooper I've got, Darth Vader, the Hawk Troopers, having a ton of fun. So I'm in a real Star Wars Black Series kind of mood. And it was kind of cool because the timing worked out perfect because Hasbro Star Wars team kicked off the live streams for 2024. And, I've kind of gone into the Star Wars live streams kind of like, well, we'll see. Hopefully, they'll have one or two cool things that I'm looking forward to because in this time last year, I was really hyped up, really excited. Like, oh man, I can't wait to see what they're going to show. And invariably, they disappointed me. I feel like that trend pretty much continued. I know they really want to focus on the vintage series because they charge so much more for those figures than they do the Black series. But it's wild the discrepancy in terms of what they show from Black series to vintage collection, especially when it seems like a lot more collectors are invested in the Black series just from looking at the comments on Instagram, YouTube, etc. It feels like there's more of a surge, more interest in what they're doing on the Black series line. So that said, let's take a look at what they showed off, some of which I was very excited to see, and some of which I really wish they were doing a little bit more because there's so much more to do and show off. Now, on that list of really, really excited to see, first and foremost, was the Attack of the Clones Phase 1 Clone Trooper. And this is a clean, no paint deco on it. It's just the basic, most basic, ready to go into the field, battle the Geonosians, the Separatist battle droids, go in and help save the Jedi. And this is a really nice looking figure. It's on that new clone body, which means it has superior articulation than the other one that we saw earlier. If you got those on the old school Black Series cards, this one's a lot better. It's got the removable helmet. It's got the likeness of Jango Fett, Tamora Morrison, whichever way you want to go with it. It's got two blasters, so it's a nice looking, clean figure. If you want to do some paint, you can do that. So that's a nice option. Yeah, we've got the knee pad, which is fine because it kind of sits low now, so it's not that weird setup they had before, although it's still kind of visible. Anyway, so it's hanging loose. I don't really care. I know some people hate that, but I mean, it's armor. I don't know what they're supposed to do with it. Love this head sculpt. That was great. So this is exactly what I wanted to see more of from them. Does some really good stuff. Of course, you've got that really tremendous articulation, so it can hit that kind of invading Geonosis pose. And that was really cool. I mean, I'm really excited about this one. Definitely good to have a blank clone trooper coming into the army and helping my Jedi, because I feel like I've got way more Jedi than I've got clone troopers because they make it so hard to army build the clone troopers. And this one is going to be available at Amazon, so I can stop there. That means I can pre-order as many as I want, buy them in bulk. That's good news. Also, another of my affiliates, Entertainment Earth, is also going to be available at GameStop and Big Bad Toy Store for those of you who prefer those options. If you do go Entertainment Earth and Amazon, I, of course, would appreciate it. But looking forward, $24.99, the normal price, nothing crazy there. And I don't know if I should be excited that I'm happy that a figure is $25, but this one's pretty good. And I like that mold, so it's fine. And I'm really looking forward to grabbing that one and adding it to my collection. Now, another one that I am also very excited to finally see join the lineup is the Droideka. And that is so cool. I mean, I love this design. I think it's really cool. And it's big. It looks huge when they showed it during the live stream, the in-hand prototype. That looks good. It has a good heft to it, so it doesn't look like it's going to fall over. These three legs, of course, provide pretty strong balance if it's the same kind of engineering as the vintage collection version. Lots of gears and details. I almost think that all this means that it's kind of worth the extra price point that they gave on it. I do feel like, yeah, they're probably right. It doesn't matter if we did a lot of new pieces, we're going to charge the deluxe pricing for it. But I mean, look at this. This is good work here. And the piping has that coil-like sculpt to it. All the detail on the plate-like neck piece. That's cool. It's got the little fins here in the back so it can close up. And it can also hit that rolling egg shape. So that's really cool. So you can see the full Droideka version. I like that. And I don't really hate the price point. It's $33.99, so 34 bucks. It's not terrible. Of course, you know, this is one of those things where you buy these deluxe figures from the Black Series line, and then eventually you see, oh man, this figure is now a $20 figure, which is crazy because like I said before, I don't think they're a terrible value. And, you know, they put a lot of work into it very clearly. But there's that sense of like, man, I'm going to pay for this figure and then I'm going to feel burnt when I pay 20 or 33 in this case. Let me see here. So I just wanted to show you like there you go. Let's try it this way. So this is like the whole issue. It's like you pay for these figures, the deluxe price point, and then you get hit with this big surprise of, hey, this figure that you spent a lot for, now it's 20 bucks. And the Gersantin figure was a solid big figure, clearly had some great sculpting elements to it. The armor is great, much better than the original. I don't know what they were doing with that first version of Gersantin, but this figure is really nicely done. But I don't know if I thought it was really truly a $33.99 figure, but it's a really nice one. And getting it for $20, I think, is a really great price. That's cheaper than the standard Black Series figure at this point. So getting him for that price is great. I'm kind of wondering, like, just how many Droidekas would I really buy if they're 20 bucks? I feel like it'd be a lot of them. And that's something, I mean, you can still go to Target and find Gersantin, and he's not, or it's not going to be available through Target, but you can get it from Pulse, GameStop, Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, which means it's not going to drop probably as low. So I'll probably grab 2, 3, take advantage of maybe some sales from Entertainment Earth. And I don't think I want to risk this going to like a clearance or outlet pricing on Pulse before I at least have 3, because I think that's a good amount to overwhelm some Jedi. But yeah, this is the price point feels relatively decent, respectable. It's just that thing of I really feel like it's going to get cheaper, and am I going to regret paying full price for this? Something that I know is eventually going to get a little bit cheaper. Now, the next reveal, and this was wild to me because I only had 3 reveals for the Black Series, and I'm like, come on, just balance it out. If you're going to do 8 reveals in the Vintage Collection, show us 8 Black Series figures. It shouldn't be that hard. But we get our 3rd one, and this was wild because we get the render, the prototype, and it's like, oh, they want to get the prototype. We just get the render. And they go, this figure is not coming until spring 2025. And I'm like, guys, I want to reveal something and then say, well, it's not coming till next year. We're not even at spring 2024. So this was really wild. And I almost feel like by the time this figure makes it out, it's going to be kind of dated. Hopefully this is a case where they're going with the long, ridiculous estimate. We're actually going to get it in summer of 2024. Otherwise, it's going to be wild. So it's the Grand Admiral Thrawn from Ahsoka, and the figure looks great. They said they did a new torso piece, so he's a little bit thicker than that original, more comic book video game style one we got, and new legs, so you can see they're a little bit bigger. Head sculpt looks great. He can do the thinking Thrawn, expression. That's cool. It's a nice looking figure. I think they did a really good job capturing Lars likeness, and he's got some good range on those elbows, which is essential for him. Not that he's firing that gun and blasting away at people, but just so he can ponder and consider his next move. He can almost hit that closing the cuff expression, so that's cool. I like that. So he can get some really good poses. Again, I really, really like that head sculpt. I think they did a fantastic job with that. You want to take a look at the blaster, here you go. It plugs right into the holster, so that's good. And I'm kind of wondering how far this knee joint range will really go before it starts to look a little weird when you start, you know, having him bend his knees some. He's a character that really is going to be more standing. He's not going to be doing a lot of action poses, so I don't think it's going to be too bad. But I'm curious how that's going to look. Also, is he going to have boot joint articulation right there at that shin point, I guess? So this is a solid looking figure. I'm really puzzled as to why we're not going to see him until 2025, which is just blowing my mind that we're going to wait that long. And I don't know why they couldn't have just shown another Black Series figure we're going to get this year if we're going to wait that long for that reveal. So with that being it, in terms of the Black Series reveals, it's on to their favorite line, the Vintage Collection. And I feel like they're trolling me because this is a figure that I've been looking forward to getting. And I know 80s kid from the 90s has been like, yo, I need this figure. I mean, 80s kid is like, we need this figure. And of course, we get it in the Vintage Collection, which I'm sure is going to make some collectors happy. But for Black Series folks, it's like, come on. This is just a, ha, got you guys. So anyway, it's Captain Rex. And this is based on his appearance in Ahsoka. And they did a nice job. I mean, they don't really botch Rex, but I just feel like Captain Rex is way too important to just have lingering around for so long. It's just years before we get a better version. I mean, this is really nice work here on the helmet, especially, and it's removable, so you can get that full experience. So you can see what he looks like without his helmet. Spoiler: he's a little bit different than the rest of them. He's got some blonde hair rocking. This face painting looks a little bit dirty though. It's like they just splattered some inkjet all over his face. He's got some weird speckles there. I'm sure the production pieces won't all look like that. The same deal is happening with the lips, so that's a little bit weird. Hopefully that's something they can fix. But he's killed a lot of clankers. He is knocking them out. There's 10, 20, 30, 35 just there. And then of course you saw the helmet. He's taking out a lot more. So Rex looks cool. And I just want to get this figure from mine. And they're saying this is from Bad Batch, but I thought in the live stream they mentioned this is him based on his look in Ahsoka. I don't think it really matters because I feel like that's Rex's basic look anyway. So he's got a lot of, I mean, there's more. So he's been killing a bunch of them. He's running out of pieces on his armor to line up all these droids that he's destroyed. But that's a really great figure. Just make this for the Black Series. Come on. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard. We really want to get Rex coming for us Black Series collectors, just like everybody in the Vintage Collection. I feel like they've already gotten another Rex in the time we're still waiting to get one more. So it's really odd and a really weird choice. And speaking of another weird choice and something that's kind of overdue for us Black Series collectors, it's a refreshed, revamped version of Luke Skywalker in his X-Wing gear. And his head sculpt looks pretty good. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the painting of the hair. Looks like there's like patterns, but it's okay. I mean, it looks like there's some degrees to that blonde, which is helpful and great. Again, with the inkjet printing, I'm not quite sure what's happening. It looks like a bunch of splatters on the lips, on the eyes. So hopefully when we see it in production, it'll look a lot better. But this figure's got a ton of great articulation, and you know, you can take the helmet off. That's always welcome and useful for figures with helmets. And he's got the blaster that he does not really need since he's going to be in a spaceship. And, you know, he's rocking his X-Wing. He's got his helmet, Red 5, chilling, doing his thing. And it's a really nice looking update to the X-Wing Luke figure. That's one that we could probably benefit from getting in the Black Series line as well, because I mean, geez, has the last one been in Series 1? I still love that figure. I think it's a really good one, and definitely one of the showcase original figures in the Black Series line before they were doing the face printing and then, you know, getting those likenesses. So well done on Mark Hamill, especially because he really benefited from it. But I feel like it's time to get a new one in the Black Series line. And this one looks really good. This could be the model of what they give us. And definitely something I think we should see really soon for Black Series. But again, it's coming to the Vintage Collection. And nice looking figure, but it's time to get a new one for us. Next up on the Vintage Collection, because we can't get enough of it, is a new updated version of Axe Woes. And this is based on season 3 of Mandalorian slash Bo-Katan. Really nice looking figure, really crisp paint job, got the little darker deal. And they said, hey, we listen to our fans. And that made me laugh. And I was like, wow, you do? And it's got the helmet and it's better detailing on that. And you can take it off so you can see the likeness there. That's cool. Good work on this figure. Nice detailing. And I think they're doing a great job with these vintage collection figures now. I don't think the price point quite makes them as good a deal based off what we're getting. I think that if they were somewhat cheaper, I'd be like, oh man, maybe it's time to go back in the vintage collection. But I don't think we're really getting the same value based off of how much these figures cost. So here's Axe flying again. You know, you take that helmet off and that looks great. So he's a really nice, well-articulated 3.75-inch figure. It's just the problem is these figures are really expensive now. And he's $16.99, just like Luke, just like Captain Rex. There's a ton of figures, but when you look at it, they're $7 cheaper than, or I guess $8 cheaper than our Black Series figures. I guess they're $24.99. I'm rounding up. So whichever way you want to go, it's just just a few dollars more. And I think given the extra size, detailing, not so much the accessories of the Black Series compared to the vintage collection, I mean, if you're not getting vehicles, then I don't really see what the value is for you. But they're cranking them out, whether we want them or not. And another addition to, because they love Mandalorian, all things Mandalorian, which is wild because like that's great. You're cranking out more figures, but again, the Star Wars universe is so much wider, so much greater than everything that happened on Mandalorian and Ahsoka. So we got a new one. This is the Fleet Commander from Mandalorian season 3. And this time we got this version before in the Black Series line. So I'm excited about that. And great looking sculpt. Good detail on the helmet. He's kind of playing in terms of what he's given us. But I love the head sculpt. I think they did a nice job on that. His expression seems a little bit different than the likeness of the actor, but whatever. Great paint detailing on the helmet, on the figure itself. And just a nice, well-articulated figure. Again, really delivering on that end with these figures. And I think if you're getting them, you're getting a far superior version than what we were getting back in the day with figures that may have 5 points of articulation. These guys have tremendous movement, range. They can do all kinds of cool stuff with them. But I don't think that you're really benefiting from this higher price point. And I'm sure this is justified to some degree because of the articulation they're providing. But I don't know. Next up, and I've been speaking a lot about them because how can they do any live stream without at least one figure? And it's Mandalorian and Armando, Din Djarin, and this time it's from the Mines of Moria, not Moria, Mandalore. He's out here. He's got the cloth cape, and I think that looks really great. He's got the dark sword for a few more minutes, and I love the wrap of the cloak of the cape. That's cool. Definitely something that makes this figure stand out a little bit more. As always, great detailing, great likeness of all of this armor bits on this figure. So good work there. He's got the jetpack as well. Great paintwork. See those dials with the red. That's very nicely done, well executed. It's got the little rocket here on the side and good paintwork on the fingers and the hands. So really nice work. I mean, it's a really good figure, but how many Mandalorians do we need at this point? And I'm just kind of confused as to why he needs to get nickeled and dimed with every single possible release of this guy. So he's got his dagger, he's got his blaster, all the things you want in a Din Djarin figure. A little crush element there to his helmet. So I mean, he's what you want for your latest update of Mandalorian, but that's not it for him. They've got to keep cranking him out. And I'm just kind of confused because I feel like there's so many more figures they could knock out. But they've got a gold mine like this guy and his sidekick. Why do that? So the next up is Grogu. And Grogu is wild. Again, they're not charging any less because he's a smaller figure. It comes with a pram. And this is vintage collection. This isn't Black Series. So this figure is $16.99. And that just is incredibly ridiculously expensive to me. I'm just like, guys, come on. That's too much for this figure. So he's got this sad kid expression this time. He's sad. He's ready. He's reaching for Mando. I mean, there's only but so much detail they can do at this scale. So for me, I'm paying $17 for a figure. I need those ears painted better, especially on the prototype. That's not good. And the pram is fine. I mean, it's it's got as much detail as I'd expect at this point. But this is wacky. I mean, this is too much money, and I'm not quite sure. I don't think this cover actually goes around on both sides. I think it's just permanently open. That's all we're getting with this, and it's just another case of Mando fever running wild. And next up, and I think this one would be a really good inclusion, but there's probably not a surprise to you at this point, but the price is crazy for it. This is the latest deluxe set. This completes your Ghost HasLab. So if you didn't get that, I don't know if there's much incentive for you here, but for those of you that did, you've got the pleasure, the honor of being able to pick up this set. This is a deluxe 2-pack. It's Chopper and Sabine. And I gotta say, in terms of what they're providing and offering in this set, the value is definitely, I mean, they put some effort into boosting this value, but it's still way too expensive. This set is $49.99 for 2 figures, which means they're the same price as buying 2 Black Series figures. And actually, it's kind of worse because they're charging less for some Black Series figures than this set. So let's take a look here. Target's got this fixed, which is sadly unfortunate for those of us who missed out on this, but you'll see really fast if I can pull this up quick like in a hurry from Target's website, that they've got their Black Series. And let's see if they still have Ahsoka's clones. There you go. $44.99. Pre-orders still sold out. So there you go. But you're going to pay more for this 2-pack of Sabine and Chopper than you will for 2 Black Series figures. And that's not great. And I'm not really feeling the need to make these figures so expensive to the point they're more expensive than Black Series figures. And you see they got 2 Lothcats, so that's cool. That's a really great inclusion. I don't think there's any difference outside of the paint work to these 2. So it's just a repaint. I really love how Sabine's outfit looked. This is how she appeared in Rebels with all the paint detail, and I really want to get this colorful version of her in the Black Series line. Crazy color hair. I mean, I definitely want this for the Black Series. I think it'd probably be cheaper if we got this in a 2-pack. Chopper looks great. Lots of good detailing on him as well. But I mean, if you spent, what was the Ghost? $400? This thing is, I mean, to get a complete team, you're really pushing it. And I just feel like that's kind of an insult to people who invested in your Ghost to make them go, all right, well, to get this full thing, I've got to plunk down another $50. This is a special release for them because they're doing pre-orders for it. They're making this to pre-order, so you can buy it from a really limited window. It's January 24th to February 14th. And the set is supposed to come out in fall of 2024, so it's not too far off, too far away. But man, this is rough. And not that, oh, it's $50, but it's just, you're still going to get this set before you get your HasLab, which I don't think is a great way to go about things. I definitely feel like if you're paying for your HasLab, these figures kind of should have been thrown in because that set was expensive anyway. And I mean, it's a really nicely done Sabine. Love to see her in a Black Series just like this. Maybe with a little bit tighter work on that inkjet. It is kind of weird with these vintage collection figures. You know, you're probably not going to blow it up like that. But yeah, I mean, the detail on her armor, I mean, it looks like she painted it. That's great. And then just, this is a Clone Wars version of Sabine. I love that. But man, I hate the price point. It is just too much. Too much. Of course, you can put the helmet on her. I mean, look at this detail. It's great. Helmet looks awesome. And she looks really sensational. And just great work on her. Man, that price point is a killer. I'm wondering what Hasbro's thought pattern is with this, because that is really, really expensive. And I feel like at some point you kind of have to reward your fans, your collectors, your supporters, your backers to some degree, because you're asking them to invest in something and then you don't really deliver in terms of that. Wow, I forgot the price of the HasLab was not $400, it's $500. So if you wanted the full Ghost crew, you're going to have to pay. And I did not order, of course, so I don't know what the taxes were, but that's just the base price of $550. It seems really expensive, and this is something I kind of feel like in a token of good faith, maybe make this set $25, $27, or if you do it this way, if you back the HasLab, you could get this set for 25 bucks. So you've already made your investment into Hasbro. You helped get this thing funded, and it only needed 8,000 backers, and it got everything. So it got all the tiers. It got Ezra, it got Kanan, and it got Zeb. So you got all those figures, and you got Hera included with the HasLab itself. Why not just give people a voucher? Here you go. I backed the HasLab. Here's my code, and 21,000 backers. How many people was it? Let me do this one more time. 21,768 backers. Maybe a couple people got more than one, so you don't have to do a 1-for-1. But give them a voucher, a code. Here you go. You back this thing. Here's Sabine and Chopper for $25 as opposed to $50. That's wild. And I think this is one of those cases where they're going to hurt themselves because, as always, we've seen this when the HasLab comes out, people are like, oh my gosh, I wanted this. I didn't have the money, but I'm going to buy it now. And they buy it from people who bought multiples with the intention of selling it. And they don't care about paying extra. They're just like, I got it. Having this limited window for it, I think, is creating another scalper situation. So Hasbro's not going to see any of this money, as opposed to just having this set available on Pulse, for the rest of the year when the HasLab comes out. Because there's definitely, I guarantee there's going to be people who are like, oh man, I really want this. I'm going to buy it now, who missed out on the HasLab. They're going to buy the Ghost at $700 and go, oh man, I still can't get the whole crew because now they're $100 for this set. So some wild planning from the Hasbro crew with how they pulled this off and how they executed it. I just think they could have done right by everybody. Just, the voucher for people who backed it, and then keeping it open for people who want to buy it later on down the road when your HasLab comes out. So, of course, as usual, we get some pipeline reveals, and that's always fun because there's no telling what they're going to show next on this one. They showed us a Phantom Menace retro set. So now we've got another retro set, and this time they're just trying to throw in as much as possible. So we're mixing up a little bit of Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. I think that's wild because I feel like they could have easily done a retro pack of Attack of the Clones and a retro pack of Revenge of the Sith. Just off the top of my head, 6 figures they could have done for Attack of the Clones: Count Dooku, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, Padme. Let's see, that's 4. So then we'll throw in Jango Fett, and then we'll add in Count Dooku, or no, Yoda. There you go. So that's 6 right there for Revenge of the Sith. All right, who's left? General Grievous. We got him covered on here. I still don't think there's a good idea or makes much sense to throw in an army builder like a clone trooper in this set, but there you go. You got him. We got the battle trooper or the battle droid in the Phantom Menace one. So we get this one this time again for my Revenge of the Sith set. I'm going General Grievous. I'm going Kit Fisto. I'm going with Chancellor Emperor Palpatine, whichever way you want to go with him. Attack Revenge of the Sith, Anakin, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. My final figure. Who do I want in this one? I don't know. Let's say, who should I go with? Bail Organa. He's somebody that can go in there and make sense as well. Or Commander Cody. There's just so many options. I don't quite understand why they went this route. So we've got Anakin and Padme. We've got Anakin for sure from Revenge of the Sith. This Padme kind of looks like she's escaping in the droid factory, not telling Anakin, I love you. I didn't do this. I didn't bring Obi-Wan to you. We got Mace Windu. We've got Jango Fett. We've got General Grievous and a Phase 2 clone trooper. Really weird setup. Not quite sure why they went that route. Because I really, like I said, I think they could have done this with no problem, cranking out another set of retro figures. Then we've got more pipeline reveals for the Vintage Collection. And again, they're doing more Vintage Collection reveals than the Black Series. This time, we've got an Amazon 4-pack from Season 7 of Clone Wars. It's Ahsoka, R7A7, cheap GG. So I got a 4-pack and get them from Amazon. An HK87 from Ahsoka, a Dark Trooper that you can now army build without that big pod. So I mean, I feel like those were reduced in price anyway. You get Ahsoka in her all white attire. You've got surprise Mandalorian, and you got Bo-Katan and Cobb Vanth in his iconic Boba Fett armor. I did not write it down. I feel like every time there's a Star Wars live stream, I should do a running count on how many times iconic is said. I know that was at least the first one that I heard. If you paid attention closer, let me know how many they actually said for this one. And then we wrap things up with the Black Series versions, the pipeline reveals. And this was frustrating on multiple levels because it wasn't really anything that I was like, oh man, yes. I feel like one was a make good on something they screwed up. And the other one is like, come on, why make it exclusive there? What are you guys doing? So we get a Mandalorian season 3 deluxe 3-pack set. We've got IG-12, Grogu, and an Arzellan who put him together, whatever, so he could have Grogu in IG-12. We've got a Mandalorian Night Owl that's exclusive to Walmart. Why? Then we've got another Amazon 3-pack. This time it's a Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It's a 3-pack of droids. And I don't understand what's the big problem with making the other named characters from these Jedi Order games. It's just, what are you guys doing? Or Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, come on, help us out here. They're characters I want to see, and you're just doing these nameless droids, and it's just like, come on. And then we finally get the fan channel Super Battle Droid. So for everybody who didn't want to get that waste of time, Battle Droid with C-3PO's head and the Super Battle Droid. Now you can army build. Hopefully that fan channel is available on Amazon so I can army build big time. So we essentially get 4 Black Series pipeline reveals. Why? So many more characters we should be showing off. An updated Jango Fett, a better version of Pre Vizsla from Clone Wars, because the first one we got is terrible. One of my least favorite figures from all of 2023. And then finally, we get a role play because we love these role playing elements. We get a Moff Gideon helmet instead of a Moff Gideon in his armor. I mean, we're going to go hard with Mandalorian figures in the Black Series. Why not get him in his souped up armor set? So, in his Beskar armor with the helmet, I don't get it. I really, really wish I could understand and just sit down with the Black Series team, the whole Star Wars team, and go, why do we refuse to do figures that make sense? If we're going to do a Black Series version of a figure, make the vintage collection figure the same time and vice versa. That way, there's no issues, no hating going like, I can't believe they gave this figure to the Black Series. Can't believe they did this one in the vintage collection without giving us a Black Series figure. It feels like it should be easy, but for whatever reason, the Hasbro Star Wars team refuses to do that. So, again, I knew better than to get too hyped up about this live stream because I knew they were going to let me down, and they did. But there's some good figures. I'm definitely getting that Phase 1 Clone Trooper, the Super Battle Droid that I should have gotten in the first place. The Droideka, for sure, getting him. Grand Admiral Thrawn. Even if I got to wait till spring of 2025, it's nuts to me. I don't really think there's much else on these Black Series reveals that I'm excited about. I mean, if I can stumble onto the Night Owl at Walmart, what are the odds of that? I'll probably get it, but they like to charge a little bit extra for their exclusives because we got you by the short ones. So, yeah, I mean, I think if you're a vintage collector, there's a lot of great figures to grab if you can save the money to get these figures now. But, man, I just wish the Star Wars team would come a little bit harder with this. We know when we get the next G.I. Joe live stream, probably the next Marvel Legends live stream, and Transformers, there's going to be something that gets people really hyped up and excited. Whereas this one, I kind of feel like, nice try. I'm glad you guys came out first so we can get blown away by the other teams because still, they're not really using the Force and delivering quality reveals, quality stuff we're looking forward to. I mean, I think 4 figures is not the best in a live stream. Hopefully, this was just a whiff from January, and we'll get some more stronger reveals as the rest of the year plays out. What excited you about these reveals? What were you most like, oh, finally, I'm so happy to see this figure get announced, get revealed, come up for pre-order tomorrow. As usual, I'll have those links up for you when they drop at 1 p.m. tomorrow. For now, that's it for this one. I'll be back on tomorrow for another edition of Lyle's Movie Files with the gang. And then Thursday Night Live, talking about some more stuff on Lyle's Figure Files. For now, this episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed.